We definitely got from New Zealand in the upper right the two-time ANZ champion. It's SaysO. Two brothers. And in the bottom left, the pride of the US of A. Everybody knows him. Some people like him. It's Hitman.
Some people like him, some people hate him, but you gotta admit, he is the best we have. He is the NA hope. And I don't know who started calling him the American Lin. I kind of like to think of Grubby as the most successful orc player. So I personally like to call him the American Grubby. Although Grubby right now, I think Grubby actually right now still might be one of the best orcs in the world. But
he definitely displayed that in the show match against Happy for sure. But I guess the reason why they call him American Lin and not American Grubby is his last name is Lin. Mr. Victor Lin, that is.
Ah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I think it was the Dust Boys while they were cheering for him at DreamHack Anaheim. They had a little like cheer banner thingy going on.
Yeah. In NA, we definitely like to call people like the American this, the Canadian that, or whatever. There's actually somebody that's the Honduran Soul Glider. K Pasuaki, if you're in the chat, what's up? And then we've got the Mexican Hitman. We've got Lucker.
Oh man, the American scene is so much fun. We saw Kiwikaki with the Farseer in that matchup. Hitman, we know him for his crazy Blade Master plays, and that's exactly what he does here as well.
Yeah, he's my favorite Blade Master user. His calculations on the wind walks and getting out are just always so insane. It's very, very hard to use a Blade Master because the Blade Master has to go in deep, and there's a lot of times where there's a coil, a nova. You have to watch the exact amount of mana the undead player has, how many fiend attacks are going to come in. It's so hard to calculate, but after the thousands and thousands of games in this young man's amazing brain, he somehow has it all calculated. I'm not even sure if he's human.
Seriously, he must be a robot at some point. If you pay attention to the ladder... Oh, maybe we should look at this creep jack first, as the Blade Master is knocking down this Ziggurat, and there's a lot more potential kills. Nice little last hit. And this is Hitman off the pink chains. This is just 3 last hits in a row.
Yeah, and if you watch what Hitman focuses on, he's always focusing his damage in the right spots. He's always moving his Blade Master around to make sure to not get surrounded and be able to get the maximum number of attacks. He's already got 2 Ziggurat cancels, which is really big. If you kill the Acolyte, that expansion is not going to be able to go down, and there's another Acolyte producing, but not on the way back yet. And Acolyte does go down.
This is so insane. Like, we see a lot of good orcs doing these last hits, but they use Windwalk to get the extra damage and be able to move through units. Hitman, look at the mana. He doesn't even need that.
Yeah, maybe he should have used it a little bit earlier there to guarantee this last kill, because he definitely would have, but maybe he was a little bit worried still about the Impale that was coming in, so he kind of just waited for it. Gets surrounded here, but yeah, I think the movement of the Blade Master, so he can save his mana as much as he can to get the maximum delay on this expansion. It's all about delaying as long as you can, so then when you can go and counter expand at tier 2, you're not at a big economic disadvantage.
All right. What I wanted to say before this creepjack started is, I'm not too sure if Hitman is human either, because sometimes we take a look at the ladder just to see how active someone is. And Hitman had like the top 2 accounts on the American ladder, most games on the European ladder, and like 3 accounts on Netties in the top 10 as well. Like, how can you grind so many games? It's really fascinating.
Basically, when you're made of machine parts, you can. I don't know how he does it. I think that's one of the reasons why he is so good. He's able to continue playing. That's why he has that hit math. Is because after you've played so many games, it becomes hardwired into your AI brain.
Yeah, it's like muscle memory at some point for your brain. I definitely agree. And not only does he grind so many games, we see this from a lot of players who are kind of like robo players and just do one thing many, many, many times, especially back in like 1.26 days when the meta was kind of like way more stale than it was now. He's also one of the smartest kids we have in the scene and always adapts. That's really nice.
So he's a thinking player as well. He's not one of those, he kind of does do the same strategy every game and he doesn't get bored with it, but he's always watching his replays, and in checking how he can be a little bit faster, he could be a little bit better. So sometimes I stay up late and play netties also, and then I'll go back to BattleNet and watch my replays. I don't know why I do that. I don't like watching my netties, but he does the same. He watches his replays on BattleNet, and I see him cutting back and forth the same as what I'll do, but then he'll do it for like 16 hours.
Oh, wow. He's an absolute monster, that's for sure. But he's got to be a little careful with the grunts here. They can easily be impaled and surrounded. We saw that, but also there in that one situation that might have been a little scary for the grunt, immediately moving the Blade Master in Windwalk into the right position, popping the grunt out. That's one solution to that. And man, I gotta say, mana management by Hitman is super impressive. He's still got 4 Windwalks.
Yeah, this is better than anyone I've ever seen that uses this hero. I mean, that's just one level higher of understanding about how this matchup works. Make sure you always have mana on your hero. Don't waste any mana. Only for the absolute usages that you need, aka saving, popping grunts out, or getting very, very important last hits.
Like this one, but SaysO, wow, that was sweet. Making sure that the Blade Master is disabled thanks to Impale. And the turtle was caught by this Impale as well, and just one click away from being killed, so that was awesome, but he's still in trouble. Shadowhunter comes in with Hex.
However, for the Undead player, the expansion is up. The Nerubian Tower is up. So he is safely mining at this point. So his next goals are obviously to get level 3 and then, you know, get the DK out, level the DK, and try to get cancels or delay the Orc expansion, or get ready for a push and try to get to, you know, 60, 70 pop units and be able to hold a push if the Orc is going to go for that direction. So we'll see what Hitman ends up opting for on this map.
Hitman seems a little greedy with, of course, the strong disable that he has in the Shadowhunter, but there's not a real target for him to get at the moment, I would think. There's no Fiends really to grab, there's no second hero as he's waiting for the tier 2. So maybe he should fall back a bit and creep to 3-3.
Honestly, I really like this positioning from Hitman because the problem with the Crypt Lord being melee and having a limited mana pool is like once your mana runs out, there's not very much you can do as the Crypt Lord to contest any of these camps. So you'll see this with the way Blade plays against Crypt Lord, the way Infi plays against Crypt Lord as human players, is that you want to creep aggressively as the Orc, especially because you have the tech advantage, you have the unit advantage, and then you're going to get the hero level advantage, and you force the Crypt Lord to have to creep your side of the map. And that's going to be very hard. It's going to be hard for him to get DK level 3. It's going to be hard for the Crypt Lord to get, I mean, even level 3. Look, he's still stuck even on level 2 here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, this is one of the slowest developments of a Crypt Lord I've seen in quite some time. But tier 2 is done. We get the DK that you mentioned. We do have the double Crypt up. I'm curious what he plays. Like, is he going for Slaughterhouse? Is it just mass ghouls? Just flood the Orc base? Let's see about that. Whoa, 2 crits in a row. That's some pretty sweet creeping here for Hitman.
Hitman's definitely one of the fastest creeping players I've ever run into. Like, very often, playing against him versus playing against other Orcs, I'll finish my level 3 creeper out with my Mountain King, or I won't, and he'll already be level 3 on top of me, or he'll already have crept like 2 of the contested camps, while other Orcs will still be maybe 2.5, 2.7, or just getting level 3.
Super efficient. Also, super nice to have a sentry ward here. He scouts what's up in the expansion. Crypt Lord is still not level 3. We're 9 minutes into this game. This camp will probably give it to him. Oh, wait a minute. It's close, right? Yeah, with the DK coming in, he still doesn't have the level 2 beetles, and that's when they get really annoying.
Yeah, and Hitman going for this tier 3 expansion, I think it's the right play on CH. There's a lot of creep camps to creep. You're going to be able to get 3-3-3, and I think the Orc 3-3-3 heroes are probably the most oppressive in the game if you can actually get there. So I'm giving a pretty big advantage right now, I think, for Hitman, and there's not a lot of creeping going on for SaysO, although he's trying.
Okay, here we go. He does have a good mana pool with the Pendant and the Mantle, so maybe he can flood him with beetles. He will have to resummon a couple of them. Hitman was rushing tier 3. Was also going for a lot of walkers, and the reason for this tier 3 rush is the tiny Great Hall that we see in the bottom right now.
Yeah, and that was a big steal from the Blade Master there, and he also got the item, I believe. So that kind of keeps the DK on level 1 for even longer, and here's the engagement, and DK looks like he's about to be going down.
Oh boy, that's the critical strike, and that's the kill just like that. Of course, there's no aura. It's super hard to run away now. There's an endurance aura, there's a speed scroll, there's hex, there's just so much.
There is a TP, and it looks like it probably is going to get forced. Hitman, he's got really good blocks. It's going to be hard to get away as long as he doesn't die here. Okay.
Only a level 1 stomp, but the crit may be a tiny bit too late. For now, SaysO survives, but phew, that was nasty.
And he doesn't have the mass units. He is going into the mass frostworms, which is what you see when you see these double crypt mass ghouls and there's no fiends. You know he's probably going to go into frostworms. At least that's what I think in the matchup. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But I mean, obviously we are seeing the double boneyard now.
Yeah.
And I wonder what Hitman's going. I mean, if he knows about this, and what is he going to do about it?
Looks like it. He has double beastery, so this to me smells like Bat Riders. But it's
yeah, maybe a mix of Bat Riders and Wyverns, or do you just go Wyverns with Raiders, or is it just Raiders? It seems like there could be a lot of answers if you know that they're coming. But definitely it's the double bestiary, because that's all the answers to air that you need.
Yeah, for sure. And if that's not enough, you also have Hex against the worms that can disable them, because there's only one Slaughterhouse Destroyer upgrade now. So there's not going to be unlimited dispel. Okay, this is super weird to me. I rarely see Blade Master versus Undead these days, so I don't know what's normal and what's not. But double Boneyard Worms. Okay, he's banking quite a bit, so he should be able to afford it.
I feel like this has become like an NA like meme. Is the double boneyard worms with the Crypt Lord expand with like almost no units. But I don't know how well it's actually going to work out. I feel like worms can be good in a lot of situations, but a lot of times they also just get really hard countered.
They're so expensive, and if you don't have them in masses like 4, 5, 6, then they don't really show their potential as they are counted so easily. So what's Hitman doing with the Beastery now? He's going Kodos for now. Kodos, Tauren, Walkers.
It's possible he hasn't actually scouted it, but he knows in the back of his head that it's going to come, and he can start countering it once the worms are already out. But another problem with this style is that if you're not going fiends, like creeping can be a lot slower. I think that's why he goes into the mass ghouls. He also needs a lot more wood for this kind of build, just the mass air build. But he kind of gives up map control for the entire game by not going into fiend.
Yeah, that's true. You can't really contest too much. Also, the red spots take forever. Without web, you don't really have an answer to anything that's flying. Right, here we go, Frostworm. I think I still haven't seen the Frozen Breath ability in Warcraft 3 Reforged too. Maybe today is the day, but I have my doubts.
I think it feels like it could be a good ability, but then again, there's not many opportunities to actually use it.
Yeah.
You know, it's only like one watchtower. You know, like what are you really gonna do with it?
Yeah, usually these towers disappear anyway, especially against beetles. So, okay, we got one burrow, we got one tower, he got fortified. That's nice. Try to take out the burrow to keep away the protection here. But Hitman is ready. He was close. And do we have the worms yet? No. So get the F out of here.
Yeah, there's just not really... like, he has a 74 pop army because, you know, worms obviously cost a lot of pop. But if you just look at his army right now, it doesn't feel very strong. He's hiding a lot of it in his base. And the Lich goes down. Unfortunately, the Lich really needs levels, and you're going to have to wait for the Lich to come back in order to really push because he is the orb carrier. Although the Crypt Lord is using the orb right now. Is that very typical to keep the orb on the Crypt Lord?
No, not really. I think he just forgot to pass it. Also, the TP gone for kind of no reason. I think the TC was far away. He was still busy with the Lich. Maybe SaysO getting nervous of the power of Hitman, making a couple of mistakes here. We got 3 worms, though. That's a lot of firepower.
It is a lot of firepower, but Hitman knows about it, and he doesn't seem worried. He is... Yeah. He does have, like, got 2 Wyverns, so it looks like that was the answer that he wanted to go for, was into Wyverns. I'm guessing once he gets one more burrow, he'll go to 80 pop with maybe a Raider, maybe just more Wyverns. But he's getting the attack upgrades for the Wyverns right now.
There's a lot of purge from the Orb of Lightning. Oh my god, that's the weakness of these worms. They are a lot of firepower, as we said, but they also disappear against this kind of army kinda quickly. The Pulverize deals with the ghouls on the ground. Decent micro by SaysO, moving them all back and not donating them, but I think the army just isn't there. The Lich is gone for the second time. Oh my god. That's not a nice holiday on a concealed hill for him, and the DK just follows. Hitman stomps him to the ground.
Yeah, SaysO's just getting pulverized. This army is just so big and efficient for a Hitman, and this Orb of Lightning against the Frostworms. The Frostworms don't kill the army of the Orc as fast as the Orc kills like your ground army. And then at the same time, the Blade Master is extremely effective against Frostworms, it seems. So yeah, the strategy from SaysO just doesn't seem like it was well prepared, or potentially just not well prepared against someone of the caliber of Hitman.
Yeah, I think that's the issue right here. The delay on the level 3, like if he gets the level 3 in time that it's supposed to be, you can harass a lot more, you can challenge the Orc a lot more. You can take his economy out, that will delay the tiny Great Hall, and then it delays the ultra late game army for sure, and with that, maybe you hit a sweet timing with these 3 to 4 worms, but if you give Hitman so much time, so much gold, he has the perfect answers ready.
Yeah, and we see this a lot of times when Hitman is playing against undead players. We saw this before against Duck and against SaysO, where Hitman kind of ends up just creeping the entire map and then just overwhelming with hero levels and similar, 70 to 80 pop armies.
Oh boy. Carson, you proud of your boy?
Absolute domination. Yeah, I think we were mentioning it. Concealed Hill, kind of a weird map for that expansion, and SaysO didn't even go for a creep camp. He just went straight for the expansion, and then Hitman's harass was obviously pretty good there. He missed the last hit on the big knoll there, which is a little unfortunate for him, but SaysO nicely dusting and avoiding that last hit. But after that, Hitman just bullies every creep camp, like Soul Glider mentioned, similar to when you play against almost a Mountain King fast expansion as Orc. You just bully them out of creep camps, you don't let them get their Paladin crept up, and similar for SaysO here, he couldn't get his Death Knight crept up at all. All the camps were pretty much going to Hitman, and then his army just became better. And he tried to force the issue by going into Frost Rooms, because if you go into Frost Rooms, you don't need much of a ground army, and the ground army really requires you to have those hero levels. And he got those armor upgrades, 1-2 on those worms to avoid the bats, but Hitman was just too far ahead with those Orc heroes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of baffled how well this Blade Master looked in the beginning, because in Europe, everyone says the answer is the Farseer. Forget about the Blade Master. Forget about the Grunts. It's unplayable. That's what they say. So, is Hitman just so good, or are the others just wrong?
Maybe both.
I also think that strategy on that map in particular is very hard to pull off. It's hard to expand there. It's very easy to harass. You can creep and then get there on time. And like you can creep backwards from there after the harass and then come back into harass. Like I think that strategy on that map might have been the wrong choice. And so I think Farseer Headhunters is still very good. I think Farseer is still very good. But then again, we also have caliber of player, and Hitman's Blade Master micro is just really, really strong. So I don't know.
We are going into Northern Isles. Carson, any final words before we take over?
I hope to see SaysO maybe creep a single camp before going for that expansion, and hopefully he can get it up a little cleaner. I'd like to see it go into the late game. I'd like to see what SaysO has to offer us, but Hitman, it's looking pretty dominant right now.
Let's see if that continues. We go on to Northern Isles, and there might be a little similarity to a series we've seen in Europe today, where we had an Undead Mirror with Kraft playing the Crypt Lord, and the first match there didn't look too hot either. Didn't really work out because an expansion was too hot on that map, and then came Northern Isles, and all of a sudden this is pretty much the hometown of the Crypt Lord, it feels like. Good creeping, fast expansions, good items, also potential for your second and third hero to creep. And then all of a sudden Kraft defeated Happy. That was pretty wild. So we're waiting for the game to load still. Hopefully not a join bug again.
Looks like it might be. But Northern Isles definitely seems like Cryptlord Isles. It's kind of got all of the tools that Cryptlord needs to go from the early game into the mid game into the late game. So I think this is going to be a lot better for SaysO.
All right, then. We... damn it. I think the source... We got SaysO right here. The Australia-New Zealand champion in the bottom left. And I'm really curious if Hitman can continue his domination. Could be a potential winner bracket final against Insuperable. This is what most people are hoping for, I guess. In the upper right, it's Hitman.
Yeah, Insup's definitely looking like the favorite, and he's been practicing really, really hard. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he does in his match against Siron. I don't know how Siron's been practicing, but he does have SaysO to practice against, so I'm sure he's very ready for whatever the Undead has to throw at him. So I don't think that'll be an easy match by any means for Insup.
Exactly. That, of course, going to be broadcast tomorrow. SaysO and Siron, it's so cool to have two real-life brothers in this tournament. We almost had... Oh, no, we have Thunder and Michael in Asia.
Yeah, that's true. There's not that many brothers that are playing like high-level gaming, right? Or esports gaming. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, in Europe we had Lucifron and Vortic, so seems like all the regions have their little brother pair. It's quite cool. Whoa, what? It's a DK.
It's a DK. I am a little baffled by this choice because it feels like this is the Cryptlord map. However, maybe he's thinking, okay, that Hitman is going to prepare for Cryptlord, so I'm just going to go standard.
A player's force.
Yeah, I kind of agree. This kind of like reverse psychology. Northern Isles is very good for undead in general, I would think. There's very cool creep routes. You can get a lot done with your skeletons. You can get a lot of skeletons very early on. It's pretty much a guaranteed level 2. And also late game. There's great items. There's this marketplace. You can maybe get shop control and steal the involves away with good timing. Against the Blade Master, that's kind of hard, but usually that works. So, yeah, this should come as a surprise for Hitman for sure.
Yeah, but I'm curious if it's going to be enough. I don't know how much SaysO's been practicing his standard against Orc, but I mean, obviously he's been preparing it because it has been a Cryptlord meta for a long time, and he's got that super fast tech going, and looks like he's just going to be creeping level 2. And I think Hitman already, like, either he knows this is happening, maybe he suspects it, or he just had prepared to creep level 2 first before going for the harass.
Yeah, that kind of feels like it. I don't know, he's very hurt, but he can heal up pretty much perfectly to 700 with that one heal self. And he's so ready to harass kind of the way he did on Concealed Hill. He got 5 selves left, invests his gold into the Gloves of Haste, so more damage, lots of sustain, once again good mana management. But it feels like he's a little blindsided. He is rushing to this expansion, but nobody's home.
Yeah, he didn't scout it. He just expected it was going to be the Cryptlord, and he was kind of blindly preparing for it. And SaysO's across the map, doing a very interesting creep route. Something that is pretty rare is creeping the opponent's Ogre Magi, stealing this really good item, and you can do it with just 2 charges of skeletons and the Fiend, which is pretty cool. I wonder if he's going to stay and finish the camp. I doubt it, but he might.
It would be great to take that away from the TC or the Shadow Hunter even, but man, this item, Pendant of Energy, and the Mantle as well, he can coil so much. But on the other side, we have another steal, this time by Hitman, who, with the Grunt and the Blade Master, steals the big mana from the Tuska, and he creeps the entire camp.
I think this is the best choice for Hitman. Like, after he knew that SaysO was not there, not expanding, I think he knows what's up, and he's like, okay, well, how do I get the most value out of my movement around the map? Well, I need to steal a creep from his side of the map, make it harder for him to creep, because I know he's probably creeping my side of the map. So it's kind of like a 1-for-1, jab for a jab here.
Yeah, you're making very good points, my man. This is also an example from what we said on Concealed Hill, that he's pretty smart and pretty fast in adapting. So usually when your early game plan is not working out that way, sometimes you're lost and sometimes you're running around like a headless chicken trying to find your opponent somewhere else, and you move from spot to spot, but you're not really willing to creep it because you really want to jack and Taraz. But Hitman just said, okay, you can take one of mine, I take one of yours, then we're even, let's go mid-game.
A player's force.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he feels very, very comfortable going into the mid game, even with equal level heroes. You know, he's got the hit math brain, so he knows his Blade Master is going to be fine, even if the undead heroes do get really high level. And this is pretty cool what he's doing with his grunts. He sent his grunts back to heal to get away from the fiends, and he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to finish the rest of that camp while I harass you.
Oh man, this could be big. He's pretty much creeping one natural expansion. He gets one last hit. Putting some pressure here. Oh my god. Are you for real? He's so
wow.
Good. 2 last hits right there.
This one's going to be big. Okay, the coil comes in though, so he doesn't get it.
Okay, the big boy is still up though. He turns towards the fiends. Could be a big hit. Coil is not on cooldown, but now it is for the Magi. Backs off of that. Doesn't get the big item.
There's still going to be 3 more coils, so I think that SaysO is going to end up still getting this camp, but it would be crazy if he did get it. It's getting low.
Harassment potential against fiends is very limited because of frost armor, but man, he really wants this Ogre Magi. Doesn't get it. Coil was there. But Ring of Protection goes to Hitman. At least he got the item.
Yeah, and it's a Ring of Protection +4. It's not a bad item, depending on the matchup. I'm not sure how good it's going to be on the Blade Master, but if it was like an MK or a TC, you'd be happy to see it.
Yeah, I always like it against Undead because it basically turns the Orb of Corruption useless, so it negates the effect of the -4 armor. And then Focus Fire, like, Focus Fire can be so brutal. The Blade Master has not the biggest HP, Shadow Hunter as well. And the TC, as I said, looks super bulky, but on level 1 and 2 he really isn't. So against Undead, I love the Ring of Protection.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Talking about the TC, I feel like on level 1 he's made of paper. It's like paper cow.
The paper cow. Oh, we are on tier 3 actually. Hitman once again rushing this. No expansion so far. Good.
I think this is really smart on these big maps. He really likes his tri-hero. There's a lot of creeps on these maps, so it's very easy to get high-level heroes. Very often, a game like Northern Isles will go into the late game. So you want to be able to scale better into the late game than your opponent.
And so far he does. He got the level 2 on the Shadow Hunter from the Tuskar camp. And oh my, this is a lot of damage. This fiend down despite the frost armor. I thought for a second, like, is this a little too greedy, too early, too aggressive, too early with the Shadow Hunter level 2.5? But with that, he forces the town portal and the marketplace belongs to him.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for SaysO, because what that TP means is a lot more creeping for free for the Orc player. The Undead player has to, you know, walk somewhere, so there's a lot of wasted time walking. So, and then he's only just creeping this Murloc, who's not very efficient. The Orc player is being a lot more efficient. And the other thing is the TP, I think the idea was to save the Fiend, and he still didn't save the Fiend anyway.
That's definitely a feels bad, man, I think, if I understand the kids correctly these days.
That is definitely a feels bad, man.
Right, we get a code.
It's already 3 heroes. Oh, yikes.
Oh, this is such a power spike. With the orb, with the crowd control. TC is out now as well. Kodo Beast for more damage. Blade Master is well equipped anyway. And he got the Wand of the Wind. Crazy X
Wand
Factor.
of the Wind could be really nasty here. I don't think there's a TP. And if he uses it really effectively, there could be a lot of fiends dying right now.
Okay, we got the silence against the TC. How long can he keep the silence up is the question. SaysO about to take a grunt. There we go. The Kodo comes in. Is it snack time? One dice. Good micro by SaysO for sure. Moving it out. But the Lich. Here's the One of the Wind. That prevents the coil. And that's the kill. That's a prime example of how to use a Wand of the Wind in the mid stage.
Oh my gosh. The Wand of the Wind is just too... It's too strong of an item, especially if you come back to